I was telling Benji outside, I said, you know, this is like every stand-up comedian's nightmares, following the magician. Man, I wanted to talk to Jeff about it, and he said that the fire eater was already booked. Do you have a guitar act before we start? Anyway, good to be back. We were here at the last one, and we had a great time. And Benji and I were talking about, you know, what we should talk about. And what we mentioned, as far as Twitter is concerned, and it's really interesting, those of you that follow either of us or both of us know that there seems to be one theme in comedy and Twitter that came to my mind, is that comedy, I mean, the definition of comedy is tragedy plus time. And thanks to Twitter, that time thing is becoming less and less. And the question that I posed to Benji was, you know, in these days, how soon is too soon? You know? Which is an interesting concept, because what immediately came to my mind was the recent incident with Flotilla. You know, the Flotilla. You guys remember this? No. You know, it's tough to say, because that was like, you know, a couple weeks ago. And I remember that, you know, when the whole thing began, and I think Benji was the first one to take a shot, and he tweeted me directly, and he said, "What the hell?" Because he got bashed for a tweet that he made about the Flotilla incident. Which one was that? That was the...
it's probably here. I'll just take a guess.
Oh, it was the taco.
Yes, Flotilla Grande, the latest entree at Taco Bell. It's funnier in America when there's Mexican food.
Right.
But I guess that's the thing. I mean, you know, like everything in the world today, Twitter is totally changing what it means to be immediate. And you know, in the States, Saturday Night Live for the last 35 years has been like the groundbreaking, the envelope-pushing show, which gets the first crack at satire. And now there's the Daily Show, there's late night TV, there's funnyordie.com, there's everything. By the time it gets to Saturday night, it's old. So Twitter, you know, Twitter is the latest sort of mechanism for every comedian out there to take a crack at something, and oftentimes that's politics, it's whatever is trending at the time.
So immediately, I tweeted that it's also the A&W Root Beer's latest selection of the Root Beer Flotilla.
Is this on, Charlie?
And I also mentioned that my friend told me they had onboard entertainment on the Flotilla. Yeah, it was Lady Gaza. And then, you know, and then I mentioned that, you know, because people kept tweeting about, you know, the Gaza Flotilla, and it seemed kind of long for 140 characters, so I just started calling it the Gazilla.
So that's, you know, Twitter is where every big comedian is. I don't know, has anyone here heard of Jim Gaffigan? People know him. He's one of the biggest comedians in the States. He has 250,000 followers. He actually was in Israel a couple of months ago. He did a couple of shows in Jaffa and in Jerusalem. He's a devout Catholic, and he, you know, you basically no longer have to wait for this guy or any comedian to come to your hometown. Every comedian is on Twitter. And what's great about it is that, you know, if you're a marathon runner, you have to run. You know, whatever job you do, you have to do like the dirty work, the non-glamorous stuff. And Charlie and I have talked. We both hate writing.
Yes.
No one wants to sit down and write. But the Twitter process is like, it's the writing, the editing, the brainstorming, all in one shot. So you know, it's really changing the way that comedians are working.
It's like doing, it's forcing us to edit. And what it does is it forces us to do a setup and a punch, all in 140 characters. And for a person like me, that, you know, when I'm on stage, I tell, you know, these drawn-out stories, and for me to compact it into 140 characters takes a lot of discipline. But another nice thing is that it is immediate. you have your audience out there, and it's just like a live show. It's immediate gratification. So basically, and Benji and I were talking about this, is we're now determining our own self-worth by the amount of time we're retweeted. You know, it's like I'll tweet something that I think is really funny, and then immediately, like, you know, 2-3 minutes later, I'm thinking, you know, well, why hasn't anybody retweeted this? They obviously don't understand genius.
It's true. You know, typically if you have a show, you know, if you have a big show coming up, you want to go to, like, I don't know, 5 open mics to try a joke out. If you don't have 5 open mics, you know, you get on Twitter and you write something out. I mean, I did a little show the other night on 4th of July, and since I wanted to do some 4th of July jokes, I just put them out on Twitter and, you know, use the best ones. This is something I wrote: July 4th, when millions of Englishmen around the world commemorated the Nakba.
Right.
You know, whatever happens to be trending at the time is probably a good thing to talk about, push people.
And that's the thing, is that because things are so immediate, a lot of times by the time you're actually doing a show, the material is dated. I mean, the greatest comedy material is happening, I guess, also still right now for the last 3 years. It's called Mondial. That's how long it's been going on, right? It started like 3 years ago. And I just, and man, I got, you know, because soccer, it's soccer, is not really my thing, but I try it. Every time that Mondial is on, the World Cup is on, and just Twitter has become, I guess, my method of venting. For instance, I wrote that I think that it's wrong that after the match with South Africa, they're making the Mexican team mow the lawn.
Whoa. Ooh.
By the way, Charlie, this stuff is much funner in Hebrew. We destroy it.
But then, you know what? But then you get, you know, comments back, like somebody, Twitter name of Jobsta, wrote back, that just made me cackle like an 80-year-old witch. Which in itself is a funny image.
I guess we can talk about you know, some of the interesting things that's happening with Twitter and comedy. If you were here last time, maybe you remember, maybe you've heard of it. There's an account on Twitter called Shit My Dad Says. Anybody know
Yeah.
this? So what's that?
It's a great book.
Yeah. So there's a 29-year-old semi-employed comedy writer moved back to California, moved in with his like 74-year-old father, and he wrote down, just started keeping a record of the shit his dad says. They're a little colorful. Should I read one of them?
Yes, please.
This is stuff his 74-year-old father says to him. You seen my cell phone? What's it look like? Like 2 horses fucking. It's a phone, son. It looks like a phone. All right, well, that's... But this guy, I think when we were here last time, he had maybe been signed to a book deal. He has like over 1.5 million followers on Twitter. It's risen to the top of the New York Times bestseller list. Since we've come back here, it has been signed to become a TV show. It's the first Twitter-inspired television show. And William Shatner is playing the father, so, you know, one of my new sort of new social media idols, Gary Vaynerchuk. Anybody knows him? Big online.
Never heard of him.
I mean, he says that, you know, because of Twitter and social media, there are no more barriers to entry. If you have something you're passionate about, you take whatever it is you want to do. There's no startup costs. And this guy did it. This guy started a TV show through Twitter, so it's incredible.
And we're all just basically sitting here thinking to ourselves, and we're still tweeting for free. You know, it's just amazing. But, you know, that being said, is that it's become so much a part of my daily life, as far as you know, news and everything else that comes out. I'm constantly thinking, okay, what can I do to make this funny? And, you know, particularly, I mean, things in this country, there's no end to material. You know, it's like, you know, back on Jerusalem Day, I just wrote, you know, what are you doing for Jerusalem Day? Me, I'm rioting in Mea Shearim. But I live in Jerusalem. And we all also remember, you know, the whole thing, you know, with the Mossad and the stolen identities and things like that. And I noticed that at the same time that was all going on, if you recall, a trainer at SeaWorld was killed by a whale. You guys remember this? Yeah, so I wrote SeaWorld trainer killed by whale. Mossad suspected Israeli whale says identity was stolen. It's just going to be tying things in together.
So again, you know, like everything with comedy, Twitter is definitely a great way to interact. You get feedback from people. You know, I used to, like Charlie, I sit on Twitter all day and just write ridiculous stuff and try to crack up my friends. I used to kind of feel bad about it, like I was wasting time. You know, like procrastinating my work. And then about 2 weeks ago, I made a change. I started calling it building my brand. So, and it's true. You know, you sit on, you know, you crack people up enough and contribute to the community, and then when you do have something to push, people want to push it. You know, occasionally we'll have a show at the Comedy Club in Jerusalem, or we'll do a tour in the States. And people want to help you. I mean, if you make people laugh, especially bringing some much-needed relief to the community after, you know, flotilla or whatever, and believe, like I said to Charlie beforehand, like we definitely, like we grieve about all this stuff as much as anyone, but there comes a point where you need to laugh, and people need, you know, relief, especially the people who care the most. So, you know, when you contribute to the community and then you need something from them, like to promote a show or whatever, people will retweet you and spread the word, which is the great part about Twitter.
And you guys crack me up. I mean, just you know, people that use Twitter are just so funny because everybody can. You know, is there anybody here that does not consider Twitter a waste of time? Right? How many times have everybody here said, you know, I'm leaving now. I really have to get some work done. And then 15 seconds later, okay, really, no, I'm serious. I'm leaving now. I'm not going to Twitter. I'm getting some work done. Okay, I'm doing some work now. I'm in my office. I'm deciding to open up my book now, and on and on and on and on, and it's always ended with, you know, okay, I'm back. Wait, you haven't left. You know?
Charlie, I see you with the tweet up sometimes. Does anyone here have any trouble ever try to explain a tweet up to your friends on Twitter?
No.
They look at you like a mental patient, right?
Yeah. Try explaining to somebody that does not have the concept of Twitter a tweet up. You know? Yeah, I'm going to meet a bunch of people that I've never met before, but I'm really good friends with. You know, I've never actually seen them before, but we're friends on Twitter.
No, the real drinks. No, at a real bar. No, it's not on a website. We're really meeting them. Nobody gets it.
And the thing, the concept of, you know, too soon, you know, how much is too soon, is really an interesting concept because it's a topic that we have to think about in real life. Because what is happening is that where it used to be a day or two before tragedy struck, before somebody starts to comment about it or make fun of it, you don't want to be the last one. So what you wind up doing is hitting on it immediately. And there's controversy involved. And that's wonderful because, you know, if everybody enjoyed and loved the things that I was tweeting, I'm not doing my job. I mean, the whole thing was really aggravating not too long ago about all these people, you know, canceling concerts here. You know, whether it was Carlos Santana or Elvis Costello. And then I read that, you know, Devendra Banhart canceled a concert. You know, and I wrote on Twitter, I said, you know, yeah, Devendra Banhart cancels concert in Israel. If we've never heard of you and you cancel a concert, it doesn't count.
And we've got 1 minute left. Should we try to end with some, since we've done more Twitter and comedy, maybe try to end with some laughs?
Oh, we haven't yet?
Let's see what we got. How about, I don't know, how about, this was last winter, Hanukkah pickup line. I'm only supposed to last one night.
Okay.
Charlie, got a good one?
This is actually true. I mean, last Friday night, yeah, I made chili from scratch. Might have overdid the heat, saw dead relatives, and we talked a while.
Do Jewish mothers in the West Bank tell their daughters not to settle? I need to know that one.
And just last May, I wished a happy Cinco de Mayo to everyone in Arizona. We need more Americans at these conferences.
Thank you and good night, everybody. everybody here.